Update. My male 50 wife female 48 abandoned me to fight herself. Original post. My wife Mary's family has a history of dementia, developing memory issues in their mid to late 50s. Her mom, grandmother, and several other relatives on her mom's side have developed dementia. Her mom lived with us for 4 years until earlier this year. Her father is deceased. Our kids are independent and out of the house. Oldest is in her last semester of college, and our younger enlisted. The last 4 years were tough on us. Our kids. Daughter moved for college but moved back for a bit during COVID. And our marriage. Living with someone with dementia is brutal. We had talked a lot last year about taking the remaining college funds, our regular savings, sell or rent the house as we were ready to downsize anyway, quit our jobs and travel for a year or until the money runs out. We just had to wait for her mom to move into a home. I understand her anxiety about developing dementia, and I was burned out. You live through COVID working remote, a wife working remote, a college and high school student taking remote classes, and a mother-in-law with dementia, and see how we hold up. Space finally opened up and we were able to move her mom into a care facility. I finally thought I had a chance to breathe. When we moved Mary's mom out, Mary's mental health took a huge downward spiral. I went from caring for her mom to caring for her. She felt guilty about putting her mom in home and had lots of anxiety about developing dementia. Our plan was to start our traveling summer 2024. But 2 months ago, I got home and she's left a note. My friends call it Exhibit A. Basically, she was going on our trip without me. She had quit her job, took most of the savings, and wasn't sure when she'd be back. Maybe a year, maybe sooner. She knew I'd understand. Her location is turned off and my calls go directly to voicemail. I texted the kids a picture of the note. We have our own checking accounts for direct deposits for our paychecks, but we'd transfer most into a joint account to pay the household bills and savings. We both had access to main savings account. We have joint credit cards we used for household expenses. The 2 cars and mortgage are joint. We both also have our own small savings accounts, our own retirement accounts, equally funded, and our own credit cards for gifts and fun things. I closed all joint cards and accounts. I waited a month to see if she'd come back, hopefully before she spent our savings. After receiving only 1 text the first month, I went to a lawyer. She basically said there was very little to do right now, other than change the beneficiaries of my retirement accounts and life insurance. Yay! My wife gets nothing else if I die alone while she's having our adventures. It was only a month and there was no way to serve her papers. My lawyer advised me to keep paying the mortgage and the cars. The cost of trying to get a judge to approve the sale of joint assets was more than making payments. I didn't want to ruin my credit by letting one of our car get repossessed, but I can't sell it because she's on the title. I get random texts and she sporadically posts on Instagram. Of course, she has comments turned off. I want to block her so bad, but my lawyer advised me that it's better to maintain a communication channel that's not through our kids. Her last post was from Hawaii. She put in the comments how great a husband I was for letting her take this trip. I'm barely making it paying 2 cars, a mortgage, household bills, insurance, hoping there are no emergencies because I have no savings. And she's enjoying our trip? F her. I'm so mad at her. I helped take care of her mom for 4 years, and her when she fell apart after her mom moved into a memory care home, and she returns the favor by abandoning me? I'll never get to take this trip and have to put off retirement. My only solace is the kids are mad at her too, but they'll probably forgive her eventually. Double F her. I'm no fool. She's hooking up with guys. She looks good, so she'll have zero problem getting men. I texted her and asked if she was sleeping around. A week later, she responded that she wasn't. Sure. So I'm drinking alone on a Friday night and she's somewhere. Probably on a beach, enjoying life. Triple F her. Edit. My lawyer has given me a bunch of advice and options. It was just way more than I could possibly include in this post. I could definitely push the issue harder and I might need to at some point, but all that work is very expensive. Finding her, serving her, getting a judge to sign off? That's not cheap. I'm following up soon and I plan on talking about the savings and my finances. Until I paid all the bills and realized how little was left, it didn't hit me that I'd had to worry about money. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. Thanking you for letting her take this trip is basically her saying, when I get through living the single life, I'll be coming back to the comfort and security of married life. When she returns, I'd say, welcome home. Here are your walking papers. She 100% is under the delusion that she's coming back to a marriage. She's had a few conversations with our daughter, and she's convinced I'll understand and forgive her. Tell your daughter to pass along the message that you're filing for divorce for abandonment and see if this gets you some traction. I don't generally like the idea of going through kids, but they need to have your back on this. Maybe even tell her they'll cut her off as well if she keeps doing this to you and the family. Maybe even start posting about how she's living the good life and letting your friends and family know what kind of pickle this has put you in. Everyone probably assumes you're on board if you're not purposefully driving the true narrative. She only hears what she wants. I asked her to send me an address to serve her papers. She only told me that we'll work it out when she comes home. The hell we will. My daughter tells her all the pain she's causing, but she just says that she only has 5 to 10 years left until she gets dementia. It's impossible to know if she'll even develop dementia, but shouldn't she be spending this with her family? Yeah, you'd think she would. I still think that controlling the narrative online is necessary. There will be fallout resulting from the divorce if you don't get out in front of this, informing people she actually knows other than strangers on Reddit. She will make herself to look like she's a victim of a deranged and bitter husband. I think you'll get the most mileage by applying pressure through friends and family in a court. I know court is expensive, but you're going to pay one way or the other. You might as well take the hit now. Also, I'd bet a PI with good internet sleuthing skills could help you find her much faster than you think. She has to be leaving a digital footprint since she's still posting and using her phone. It's amazing what you can find out about a person if you know how to look for the information. Now for the first update half a month later. I'm feeling much more positive now that the financial situation has become a little more manageable. Basically, I'm running up debt that will get paid off when I sell the house. Even with lawyer fees, I have 6 to 8 more months before I have to worry about money, assuming there are no emergencies. My friend's wife gave me some good advice. Don't go from being a hero to a villain in your kids' eyes. How I talk about and treat my wife will determine my future relationship with my kids. I don't care about my wife, but I don't want to make her a sympathetic figure or drive them away from both of us. I followed up with a lawyer. Basically, she said we're going to have her pay back the savings she took through a reduction in her share of the assets. Any division of assets will include the savings she took. She'll also have to repay the money I spent maintaining the household while she was gone. There is plenty of equity in her share of the house and her retirement plans to cover that. She said that our finances are so intertwined after nearly 25 years of marriage, my wife is going to get some share of the assets. Best cases, she agrees to the terms of the divorce, and it's relatively cheap and quick. Otherwise, it gets complicated and expensive. She gave me a lot of options and how much I can expect to spend, so I decided to just mostly wait. I got a couple of credit cards with promo rates for purchases and transfers that gives me breathing room and I can conserve cash. I'll just pay them off when I sell the house. Now that my financial situation is less stressful, I'm actually enjoying her being gone. I'm free to do whatever I want, whenever. I don't have to cook or clean or take care of anyone. The house is quiet for the first time since I can remember. I loved my wife, but her mental health weighed down our marriage. On balance, it was worth it until now. The first month or so, I expected her to be there whenever I'd get home. When someone was at the door or if I heard noises, I'd think it was her. I'd check doorbell cam obsessively. I'm not looking forward to her returning, but when she comes back, I'll have to deal with her. The divorce, getting the house ready to sell, dividing all our stuff, finding a new place to live. I'm hoping she'll stay away until after New Year's, but my daughter said she thinks her mom will be home for Christmas, either to stay or visit. My lawyer will have papers ready to serve her. Hopefully she'll just agree to the terms and continue her travels. People had some great advice, renting or selling the house, which is not really feasible right now, since I'd have to fix some stuff and get it ready to sell/rent. Since I need a place to live, the amount I net each month, rent to mortgage to rent on a new apartment to storage unit, it's just not worth it. My kids' rooms are still full of their stuff, and I don't want to spend the time and effort to clear them out and put them in storage. Getting a HELOC. This was great advice. I didn't realize I didn't need both people to get a loan. If I need more money, I can go this way. In the short term, the promo rates on the credit cards were cheaper and easier than getting a HELOC. Serving my wife divorce papers or getting a divorce in absentia. This is something I might need to do eventually, but the cost in lawyer fees goes up exponentially in cases like this. I'm comfortable just waiting for now. Look at a phone bill to see where she's at and possibly going. I did look at her usage. I did notice that she doesn't post on social media until after she leaves a place. When she posted about Hawaii, she made a call that day that originated in LA. She posted about a cruise and I figured out the dates. Tried to serve her at a port possibly, but it ended a couple of days before she posted. She tried adding international calling to her line, but I blocked it, so she removed her phone from our account. Oh my gosh, I'm infuriated on your behalf. The audacity of my husband is so great for letting me take this trip. The petty in me hopes she'll be home for Thanksgiving because I want her world to explode. She's told her family she won't be home for Thanksgiving. Nobody told her my daughter and I are spending Thanksgiving with her family though. She can see the posts of us having a good time without her. That's petty revenge that doesn't hurt anybody. I love to see it. Your friend's wife gave you some really solid advice. Use this time while she's away to create new routines and traditions with your kids. Spend quality time with them. Encourage them to be open and be honest, within bounds, with them in return. Things will get rocky when she returns. Use this time to your advantage. And I'm glad you're feeling better. I hope you continue to heal and emotionally detach so you won't get pulled into her BS when she returns. So she's just going to blow through all the money and then assumes you'll take her back and care for her when dementia hits her? Seems to be her plan, but it's not mine. I hope her punishment is that she never gets dementia. She has to remember for the rest of her life what she did to the people she claims she cares the most about. Please change the locks on the house so she can just waltz back in while you were out one day. I'm so angry for you. I've been married for 23 years, and if my husband did this to me, God help anyone between me and him. She left her keys. I changed the code on the security system, the passphrase, and the password. I also found a new hiding place for the emergency key we had in the backyard. Now for the second update 3 months after the first post. My wife texted me in the middle of December that she'd be home for Christmas. I told her that we, our daughter and I, would be at my brother's. She obviously wasn't welcome. I'd leave her car in the driveway and the fob in the backyard. She wasn't allowed in the house unless I was there. She didn't have keys to get in, so she spent Christmas with her sister. When we got back, I met with her. I decided not to be overly confrontational because I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of thinking I cared enough to be mad. She was taken aback about how detached I was. I could tell it bothered her that I didn't show her much emotion, not even anger. I just wanted her to agree to a divorce. This is a summary of several different meetings, both with and without our daughter. She hasn't wanted to meet with her mom alone yet. I asked why she left without telling anyone. She said she didn't want to wait a year. She didn't want anyone talking her out of it. She didn't want to work anymore. She wanted to leave before her mental health got worse. I'm sure it was mostly because she didn't want me to stop her from taking the money. She knew I would take care of everything with the kids in the house when she left. We had decided to go summer of 2024 for a few reasons. Packing everything and getting the house ready to sell was going to be a lot of work. We wanted to make sure our daughter graduated college, got a job, and was settled. We wanted to make sure we had money when we got back. We wouldn't have a house, cars, or jobs, so we needed money because it would take months to find work and a place to live. We didn't want to have any worries or deal with a mess back home. At some point in our planning, she began questioning, to herself, not me, if she ever wanted to go back to our old life. She didn't want to work full-time or buy a house and stay in one place after we got back. She wasn't sure what she wanted, but she didn't think she would figure it out talking to me. I told her that's the reason we were taking the trip, to figure those things out together, to see what we wanted for the next part of our life. I asked her why didn't she just get a divorce before she left. Then she wouldn't have had to do this behind our backs, and she would have had plenty of money without stealing our joint savings. She claims that she didn't want a divorce, that she wanted us to live whatever life she figured out. I told her that's not how marriages work, one person deciding for the other. In talking/texting our daughter, her family, my texts and voicemails, she realized I might not forgive her. She was right about that. So she might have to visualize a future without me. This is where I had hoped she would say some stupid stuff, like she was going to squander all her money living in a van and make travel vlogs, or she met some guy that she needed to wire money to so they could open an ice cream shop in Alaska. Instead, she wants to be a digital nomad, working part-time, fully remote, and living in new places. She tried to convince me to go with her, but I'll never be able to trust her. Plus, I don't love her anymore. Traveling like that for a few years doesn't sound bad, but she doesn't have a job or any work lined up. She's not in her 20s, and that way of living will get old quick. No close friends, no family. I want her to make it work so she won't be here trying to get back in our lives. 1. How are the kids doing? Our son wouldn't have seen us the entire time she was gone away. He only responds to her with very short texts. He told me she wanted to see him, but he said he was too busy and wouldn't be able to get away. He lives in the barracks, so it's an easy excuse to avoid her. My daughter stopped talking/texting her. She's pretty upset. Her worry turned to anger when she realized her mom wasn't having a mental breakdown, but it was just selfish. If her mom was sticking around, they could probably work through it eventually. I just care that my daughter is happy, so whatever she decides, I'll support. 2. Did she spend all the money? About half. I think she realized she needed to figure it out before she completely ran out of money. 3. Did she sleep with anyone? I didn't ask because I didn't care. Asking would imply I wanted her back or it would matter. Even though I didn't ask, she claims she didn't. Not sure if she's lying or not. She might just be saying that because she doesn't want the kids to have another reason to be mad at her. 4. Does she feel bad for what she put us through? She claims she does, and she wishes she had handled it differently. She said getting away and figuring herself out was best for her. I told her she was just being selfish. When she first left, we were worried something would happen to her. We would never see her again. She's always been self-centered. I told her she's taking the easy route and letting everyone else handle the difficult parts. If she gets sick, kids will take care of her. Goes broke, live with family. Abandon everyone, they'll forgive her. She thinks her siblings and our children will let her live with them like we let her mom live with us. I'm sure when she visualizes her future, she sees our kids there. They might not be, and definitely not in the same way they were before. Despite how it might sound, I'm actually really happy with how it all turned out. Our divorce is far from final, but we've agreed on the big things. We'll sell the house, how to split the retirement and profit from the house, how to pay back the money she took, and what I spent maintaining the household. I got most of what I wanted from the settlement, and she'll soon be, mostly, out of my life. I won't have to pay alimony, and because she's choosing to make significantly less money than she was, I won't be forced to support her. That would have been a kick to the teeth. She isn't my responsibility anymore, and I won't have to care for her if she does get sick or goes broke. I figured I'd start dating again. I didn't realize a 50-year-old man with children out of the house, a good job, and in decent shape would be a catch. I'm not fighting women off with a stick, but I've had a lot more interest than I expected. It's been kind of nice meeting new women. I've worked out the numbers and I'll be doing pretty well after everything is settled and I only have to support myself. Not where I wanted to be. 50, getting divorced and using Reddit as free therapy sessions. But I'm happier now that I've been in a while. I'm even planning a little vacation of my own. Thank you to everyone that has responded and reached out. It meant a lot. I predict she'll be back when she starts having health problems or runs out of money. It only took her a year to burn through half of your life savings. She'll burn through whatever she gets from the divorce before 5 years are out. I know some actual digital nomads. All of them are highly skilled in some sought-after tech field, are famous media personalities, or as workers. If your soon-to-be ex-wife isn't any of those, she'll soon be run to ground somewhere. People this selfish can literally not conceive of a world where they're not the main character, and everyone drops everything they're doing to help them. I give her a few months after the divorce is settled and family has dumped her. Once she realizes that she's not the main character, she'll want to go back to OP so she can have her old life back. Nope. She might be able to convince herself she doesn't care that he won't forgive her, but there's no way she's going to be happy being cut out by her kids and the rest of her family, if that's how things ultimately pan out. All she could do is go and party around the world for a couple months and steal the money her and OP had saved together for herself. I'm sorry you have had to deal with this, OP. You handled this about as well as anyone could have expected under the circumstances. You are a good man, and your family will forever know that when the chips were down, you put them first and she didn't. There's no walking that back no matter how much she begs or tries to explain herself. The only reason she's not admitting to sleeping with someone else while on her self-discovery was how it would make her look to friends and family, knowing this will blow up relationships with the kids especially. She still had a small glimmer of hope for not getting divorced as mentioned above, until you shut it down. And most importantly, how is grounds for divorce and repercussions in said divorce depending on where you live? There is virtually no way for a person to rediscover themselves, and the process not also involve their genitals. Either way, whatever she says can't be trusted. Sir, you are a catch. For your information, don't date anyone under 30. Cheers to a new life. I just recently got everyone out of the house. I'm not dating anyone that has young kids or wants kids. Not that it would matter if they did. I took care of that a while back. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex that it is not my responsibility to help her? I, 31 male, have a set of twins. Violet, 16 female, and Onyx, 16 male, with my ex Trisha, 31 female. We were the definition of trailer trash. We were addicted to hard substances and dropped out of high school. Her parents had 8 kids in a 4-bedroom trailer, so we couldn't live with them, so we lived with my mom. There was DV on both ends, but because I was 6'5", I was always the problem. 2 years after our kids was born, Trisha called the cops on me when we were high and drunk. They found hard substances on me, and I got locked up for 6 years. Trisha moved on immediately with a guy from the trailer park. Her boyfriend didn't want the twins with them, so they stayed with my mom. I'm so glad she wasn't vindictive and brought the kids to see me every Friday. During my time in prison, I got clean for my kids and also got my GED and associate's degree. I read a lot of science books and fell in love with physics. So once I got out, my mom helped me out while I finished my bachelor's in mechanical engineering. I moved my mom and kids out of trailer park into a nice house in the suburbs once I had a decent job. My ex took the kids one weekend a month, even though her now husband still didn't like my kids. Fast forward to now. I bought my kids cars. My son took his when he visited his mother. The next day, my ex called me demanding I help with her kids. She explained that they're struggling and her husband's oldest daughter is now complaining about not having a car. I told her she's not my responsibility, and neither are her kids. She said that she'll cut my kids off if I don't give her what she wants. I explained that I don't care, and she'll be better out of our lives. Later, my kids told me about a text they got from their stepsister saying they're being horrible siblings. Their mom then sent them a text asking if they could sell the cars. And when they said no, she flipped out saying she's going no contact and that she didn't raise them to be greedy brats. My son sent laughing emojis, while my daughter sent race. She texted me some more junk saying if they starve to death, it's my fault. My ex is a horrible person, but her kids didn't do anything. Should I give them some money? Now for the top comments. No. Heck no. Good on you for turning your life around. Your mom and kids must be so proud. Not the a-hole. Bold assumption from OP that any money would go to the kids. Not the a-hole. However much money you give your ex, it will never be enough. Let the trash take itself out. Stay away from her and her other kids. Exactly. The ex saw that OP had enough money to buy his kid a car. The first thing she thought was, he has enough money laying around to give to me. It never is enough money. My mother-in-law is like this, and luckily my wife realized it on her own after a couple years. My mother-in-law could be making $10 million a year, and she would still find a way to spend it all on stupid stuff. Always a victim, always struggling. Get a lawyer, get full custody, block her and everything. Her kids have a father. She needs to get up his butt about it. Not you, not the a-hole. Full custody and child support from deadbeat mommy. I don't know. The dude's making a healthy chunk of change as a mechanical engineer. If he doesn't need the money, I'd skip that part. The whole point is to cut the woman out of his life. Child support would require regular contact with her.